I studied Jaxson Dart for the 2025 NFL draft and actually got to him early because I was hearing potential first round buzz for him. In this video, we'll break down the tape, hitting on all of the talking points and sharing my thoughts on Jaxson Dart. Now, I may not view him as a first round talent, but I do see a talented player with Dart, and we can talk more about where I view him among this quarterback class. The biggest, most talked about aspect of Jaxson Dart's draft evaluation has less to do with him, but more about the offense and system he played in at Ole Miss. There's this stigma around this offense and quarterbacks previous to Dart. The thing I'll say is, it is a part of the eval for sure, but I think it's also easy to gauge Jaxson Dart away from this system completely on his own. I'll put it this way, when evaluating a quarterback, I watch the quarterback play, you guessed it, quarterback. Watch this play here and keep an eye on the routes. You'll see this little pick, tempoed post, and it works open, but let's back it up and watch Dart. As a quarterback, Dart drops back, reads it out, and does he make the throw? He sure does. Yes, this offense is different. Not many other quarterbacks you watch will be on teams that run this type of stuff, but Dart, as a quarterback, is easier to evaluate away from the Ole Miss offense, and it's a smaller deal than I think most people make it out to be. The first note I jotted down was a strength about his ability to throw the deeper, outbreaking routes on time and even anticipate the throw on some of them. This one's pretty cut and dry. Read one's a deep out, Dart drops back, looks that way, throws with anticipation, under pressure, and delivers it right on the face mask. Pretty impressive despite the fact that it was a one read, watch it all the way through type of play, but he was confident in his teammate and himself to make it work. This isn't much different as Dart takes his drop, gets it out on time, and throws that sail route 24 yards in the air. This was a routine throw for him. Watch at the moment he decides to throw. No one is settled, there's still a lot moving, but it's still right there in stride. You can even see it come together from the end zone copy, really just watching how he read that route and threw it with confidence. A big part of the scrutiny behind this Ole Miss system is because it's so easy on quarterbacks. People think it's a one-read progression and you don't have to process much at all. That's just not true. Sure, there were some where it was clearly a one-read play, but there was more than a fair amount of reps that disprove that theory or thought about Jaxson Dart. Prime example, and probably the best I saw Jaxson actually read it all the way out from one side to the other. You see he starts left, sees the coverage and both of its targets, but decides to move on. Comes back across and hits the backside in, right in front of coverage. He reads well in his drop here. You'll see him peek right, but sees the defender in zone ready to make a play. So he'll progress over the middle, and in an instant, he assesses the situation and dials a perfect touch pass to layer it over the defense that he had been looking at for less than a second. I personally think he's capable of moving his eyes and reading some stuff out, but I'm certainly not expecting him to step in an NFL offense and read full field progressions and get into pre-snap checks that'll decide the play that's ran. This 2nd and 9 with a little smash concept, you see him snap it, look, and even go to throw this, but Dart backs out. Read 2's open underneath, he just goes right over that 2, gets his eyes wide and puts himself in a bad spot. This is high pressure, uncomfortable, and he just didn't execute how you'd like. You'll see the tight end on a shallow cross. Jaxson snaps it, bounces his eyes off of him, and throws the dig completely off target. In the back view, you see the play fake, the eyes on pre-score, speeds up, gets hit, and can't complete the throw. We can move to another aspect of Dart's game that I do think is a plus, and that's his athleticism. He's no Jayden Daniels or even like a Drake May, but Dart could definitely get it done with his legs. The exact note I wrote down was athleticism is a plus, not a play style or crazy trait of his, but it'll do. There's a lack of initial quickness, but he's big and harder to bring down. Some of the long speed and when he gets a runway is impressive, plus I really like his toughness as a ball carrier. He'll dish out some hits if he's feeling frisky, but also takes on contact really well. I really liked this play versus South Carolina. QB draw, you see the foot speed, broken arm tackle, and just a good display of Dart as an athlete athlete. Another designed QB run. This is just a few yard gain, but watch him from the end zone copy. Watch as he manipulates the linebacker using his center's block and got up the gut. Pretty good feel and vision for a quarterback. Now we can dive into something a little deeper in the evaluation, talking about something mechanics related and maybe some untapped potential that he could put to use. I'll preface this by saying, in no way am I an expert on quarterbacks mechanics, and I do understand that these guys will and can do what is comfortable for them. I have two notes, one of which is a negative note and the other is a positive. The negative one first. His poor arm. A lot of torque and power in his throwing motion is generated with his arm. He was a baseball player and that shows with his motion. His arm jolts at times and it's not great to watch. You can tell he's putting a lot of stress on his throwing arm when applying velocity to his throws. And here's the positive. His arm in motion leaves some meat on the bone, but what he has right now is already above average in my opinion. If he works with some people and dials in on maximizing his throwing ability, you could see Dart advance further and put even more steam on his throws. I think if you see what I'm talking about, you'd understand a little better. It's just a normal throw, but watch it in full speed from the end zone view. You see that pop in his shoulder? Watch again. He winds up and just lets his arm go. Here's a deep ball. You'll see him drop back and watch his release again. It's just so much effort. You'll see that jolt I'm talking about again. He's just putting so much on his arm and slinging it in his release. Even on a simple throw like this, I wish I could see a more rotational thrower with everything turning in sync. Again, we'll go to the end zone copy and watch his arm compared to the rest of his body in slow motion. Sure, that back foot pops up with it and he does bring some punch with his hip. But Cam Ward, for instance, watch his arm compared to the rest as he rotates. You can see it's all tied together. The rotation's bringing his arm behind it and gets the ball out without blowing his arm out. Now, I'm not trying to nitpick flaws or anything. I simply think there's room to develop and improve. I saw the motion and thought Dart was already pretty effective with his arm, but I think it could be even better. So not really a negative, it's more of a he could improve this, if that makes sense. Now, we can start talking more about some of the negatives. My goal is not to demolish prospects and really dig into the bad parts of the tape, but I do want to be honest and state why I wouldn't or don't see someone as high as others. I'll start with his aggressive nature. At the bottom of the screen, one guy goes high, one stays low. Keep in mind, it is 3rd and 3. So they run the routes and look at that. Someone's open at the sticks. This concept worked like a charm, but Dart had other plans, launching it deep and throws an inaccurate ball on 3rd and 3 when he had the first down in hand. Same deal here. It's 1st and 10 with a guy underneath and one over the top. Watch it unfold. On 1st and 10, you can pick up the easy yards, or you can go crazy and try the deep option and miss it. Point is, Jaxson likes to push the ball deep, and he's definitely got the mentality of someone who likes those big plays. It's not always a bad thing, and I'm sure you can find a few good things that come with that, but if it's impeding on his ability to play situational football at the next level, I think anyone would have a hard time keeping a starting gig. What is one of the most important things that anyone would look for in a quarterback? Accuracy. Jaxson Dart's overall accuracy was hit and miss, but more hit than miss when he had someone open. The biggest hiccup in this category was Dart's ball placement. He lacked precision and consistency when trying to pin it on a receiver's chest or wherever it needed to be pinned, and there's definitely a need to improve his precision as a passer. The place I saw the accuracy drop off the most was under pressure, like in this clip you're watching. You see him take time, and when it's go time, there's pressure and the feet stay planted, causing him to miss a bit high. Another play, he has a double move and actually read it well to get away from it. Getting his eyes over to the crosser, pocket closes a bit, and the throw ends up off the mark. I'm sure the pressure and the feeling of being in his own end zone amounted and sped everything up, and the ball hits the dirt. This one's more of what I was talking about with the placement. You see, there's not much separation, but the throws miss when he's required to get it right where it needs to be, just a little too far out in front. RPOs were far from a strong suit, but on a bang play like this, you see it's just not where you want it to be. This is nitpicking at its finest, but the margin for error is so small in the NFL that I personally think this matters a bit. You've got a wide open target right in front of you, hit him in stride, and he carries on for better run after catch. But instead, the ball turns him back inside, allowing the linebacker to close, all because it's just a little bit off. Look, the deep passes and vertical concepts are very much a part of this offense at Ole Miss, and on the screen is a reel of all of Dart's misses. The deep ball was very different than advertised. I watched Dart, but afterward I had to cherry pick a game to go watch to see the deep ball to see if it improved. Even while cherry picking, I still felt like I had missed something. All I heard about was Dart in the deep passing game. I came out thinking he wasn't all that special on his deep throws. I don't know how, but it seems like this might be a little bit of a hot take. There are so many close ones where the targets run and the ball lands within 3.5 yards of his receiver. He was consistently off the mark, and I definitely didn't see someone that had a grasp of a deep ball. It's not for lack of experience either. Dart had plenty of time in the system and threw deep a lot. Not once did I see progress over the season, like he was starting to gauge things even a little better. His arm's not A+, I get it, but if you're throwing downfield that much, I just thought that'd be a place I could rely on Dart in terms of like a trade or a trump card of his. I don't know if he would have had a lot of success throwing anything other than a 9-route downfield, but I sure would have liked to see it. I'd almost bet that he'd grade better throwing in deeper windows than he would when he's just laying the ball out there for someone running in a straight line. Jaxson Dart excels at executing deep, outbreaking concepts and timing routes, making him a potential fit for NFL offenses focused on these areas. He is experienced in a system that plays to his strengths with solid quick game execution and an understanding of those short throws. Dart also has a good ability to progress through reads, moving from primary to secondary options and occasionally a third. While not an elite athlete, Dart has good size, toughness, and long speed, making him difficult to bring down. He's solid as a ball carrier and shows resilience. Dart also demonstrates a good feel for adjusting his throws to the right velocity or touch depending on the situation. His pocket presence is strong with intentional movement and a feel for pressure. Dart's throwing mechanics are a little concerning, with his motion generating significant torque, leading to inconsistency and stress on his arm. His tendency to prioritize deep throws can lead to aggressive decision making, and his accuracy is hit or miss downfield, and his ball placement lacking precision overall. His deep ball doesn't live up to the hype, and his RPO execution causes Dart to rush his process getting the ball out, downgrading an already spotty part of his game: his accuracy. Dart also struggles with decisiveness when scanning through his reads, either rushing or hesitating, which can limit his effectiveness. There you have it, a Jaxson Dart video breaking down his game. That'll be it for me. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, go ahead and leave a like, go down, subscribe, go to the past content on the channel. It would mean a lot. I'll see you guys next time. Deuces.